Alright guys, so a few people have asked me about my birth story, and I was going to post it on Instagram, but it's just too long to really post on there, so I figured I would just put a video up on YouTube, share the link, go from there. So if you're interested, great. If not, that's fine too. This little miss is going to be 2 weeks old tomorrow, so that's just crazy to think. Like, the past 2 weeks have absolutely flown by, and she is incredible. I have never been so in love with anything in my life. She is absolutely amazing. Anyways, so 2 Fridays ago, so 2 weeks from today actually, 2 weeks ago today, I was feeling contractions about 6:30 in the evening. I didn't know they were contractions at first. I thought I just really had to take a poop, so I wasn't too sure because I was constipated. I couldn't poop. I called my doula and told her what was going on, told her that they were coming every like 2.5 to 7 minutes off and on, but I thought that I just had to take a poop. So she said, take a poop, see if they go away. If they go away, not labor, but if they don't go away, you're probably in labor. So I ended up taking a poop, and they kept on coming consecutively every 2.5 to 7 minutes. No, 2.5 to 4 minutes. So we went to the hospital. Around 9:30, we went to the hospital, and they checked me into triage, and I was only 1 to 2 centimeters and 50% effaced, which was better than I was the day before because I was only barely 1 centimeter and 20%. So my cervix had opened quite a bit and whatnot. But yeah, so they told me they would hook me up to monitors for like 20-30 minutes and then send me for a walk. And if I didn't progress, they would send me home. If I did progress, they would keep me there. They ended up actually keeping me hooked up to the monitors for 3 hours because my contractions were coming every single minute and a half, and they were like intense. I told them, if this is what 1 to 2 feels like, I do not want to know what a 10 feels like because these things hurt like a bitch. So they ended up keeping me on the monitors for 3 hours, and then a nurse came in. I had just laid down because I had changed positions because I was really, really tired, and it was late, and I had been up all day, and I just wanted to try and breathe through the contractions, but lay down to catch a break. So the nurse said to me, did you change positions? And I said, yes, I did. And she said, okay, we need you to turn to your left. We need you to turn to your right. We need you to lie on your back, because they couldn't find little Mrs. Heartbeat here. So they ended up calling a code, and they called it a bratty. And I said, yeah, I know my baby is a brat. That's why she's 12 days late. And she said, no, we have a bratty. So she ended up, there were like 2 other nurses who ran in. They pulled up my side railings, and they rushed me off. Oh, you talking too? Yeah? Telling your story, Miss Presley. This is Presley, everyone. She's so sweet. Hey, are you sweet? Yeah. But so they rushed me off to the OR. They told my husband, gather everything in the triage room and follow us. Nobody told me what was going on, so I was just I had no stinking idea. But they rushed me to the OR, and the charge nurse there introduced himself. He said, we lost your baby's heartbeat. We just need to make sure we can find it, make sure that it stays consistent, and that's what they did. So they found her heartbeat, no problem. I guess she had just turned away from the monitors and they couldn't catch it. So he found her heartbeat, and then they kept me there for 20 minutes to monitor her heart, make sure it went up and stayed at like a solid level. And then they sent me into a laboring room just to stay close by in case something happened again. In the laboring room, they checked me, and I had progressed to a 3 to 4 centimeters and like 80% effaced or something. And they kept me there, and they told me, now would be a good time for morphine or fentanyl if you're wanting some pain management, because I was in quite a bit of pain. My contractions were still coming every like a minute and a half. So I took the morphine, and I sent my husband home because it was 2 in the morning. Poor guy had not slept all day. He'd been up since like 6 in the morning. So I sent him home. I ended up, the morphine was great, and it took the edge off. I was able to sleep in between contractions. Even during contractions, I was able to just take a deep breath and deal with them. Definitely took the edge off, and I definitely, it made me feel a lot better. An hour later, around 3 o'clock, the monitor started going off again. So that charge nurse ran back into my room. He asked me, he just let me know, the baby's heartbeat's dropped again. We need to rush you back to the OR. So when they took me back to the OR, They told my doula there's the possibility of an emergency C-section. Get dad back here right now. So Cody had just got home. He had just fallen asleep, and then he got the phone call saying, your wife might be having a C-section. You need to get your butt back to the hospital. Yeah. So he ended up coming back. They brought me to the OR. They couldn't get her heartbeat consistent on and monitor on the outside of my belly. So they ended up breaking my water. And when they broke my water, they realized she had meconium in there. So that's not good. She pooped herself in my womb, or in her womb. But so they ended up saying, okay, you've got meconium, you've progressed to a 6, and they put a monitor on the top of her head, so to track her internally. And her heartbeat it kept dipping. It was at when I looked, it kept bouncing between 50, 60, and 90, and it was just back and forth and back and forth. And the nurse said, you know what, unfortunately, sometimes babies are extremely stubborn. You have a very stubborn baby, and we need to get her out right now. There's no time, we need to get her out right now. She may be in distress. So at this point, I asked them if they could wait until my husband got back, and they said, absolutely not. We need to get this process started. And they prepped me for a spinal. They had my doula there to hold my hand, and I asked a nurse as well, can I hold your hand? Because I was freaking terrified. I had no idea what was going on. Yeah, they had a nurse read me my consent as they had the anesthesiologist prepping me for the spinal block. So it was really rushed. As soon as I signed, they were like, okay, arch your back like a cat, and they put in the needle. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I just remember it burning a little bit, and that was that. And then they laid me down, and when they laid me down, I just remember them saying, can you wiggle your toes? Can you feel this? Can you feel that? And I couldn't feel anything. Luckily, my husband got back in time. So he ended up coming into the room with me, and he was sitting behind my head. I had a monitor to my left side. I had a monitor to my right. I had an IV hooked up to my right side as well. So Cody was sitting behind me. And all I remember is they said, call the husband in, call the doctor in. So as the doctor came in, they started opening me up, and I told Cody, don't you want to watch? Because if I could see, I would want to see. And he said, no, you wouldn't want to see, and I don't want to see. They did get him to look, though, when they pulled her out. So they said, Dad, this is where you probably do want to take a look because the baby's coming out now. He said when he looked, the doctor's hands were right up inside of me. You couldn't see anything, her hands were inside of me. And she pulled out the baby, and they popped the sac, and then little Presley here did a big stretch, and the sac popped. They didn't show her to me right away, which was terrible because all I wanted to do was see my baby. Of course, being a new mom, you just want that relief, and she didn't cry right away either, so it was terrifying. I wanted to see her, and I wanted to hear her, and nobody was telling me what was going on. So I just remember lying there and asking Cody, is she okay? Does she have hair? I kept on saying, does she have hair? Does she have hair? Is she okay? What's wrong with her? Is everything okay? And all that he said is she's covered in poop, and that was that. So she got rushed to the nurses, and they cleaned her up. They checked her lungs, and then I heard her cry, and that was the greatest relief I could have ever. When she started to cry, I started to cry because that's all I needed to know she was okay. Took them a couple of minutes to wipe her down and wash her up and do her check. Then they brought her over to Daddy, who once again was sitting behind me, so I was unable to actually see her. It was really difficult for him to show her to me in a way that I could actually see her face, so he just kind of held her head to my head behind me, and I just remember arching my neck back and going, I wanted to see her, just let me see her, let me kiss her. And it was impossible because there were so many monitors and IVs around that he couldn't actually physically put her to my face. But yeah, so that's that. They ended up stitching me back up. Probably took about half an hour, 45 minutes. They sent Cody out of the room with the baby, and then they brought me into recovery, which is when I first finally got to hold her, and was the best thing in the world. I had looked forward for 10.5 months just to my plan was to have a natural vaginal delivery, and this just goes to show that birth plans, sometimes they don't work out. My whole 10.5 months I spent so excited to just have her put on my chest the moment she came into this world and start breastfeeding and, you know, just have that bond. And I didn't get that, so it was pretty rough. But the moment they did give her to me, I put her right on the boob and she latched like a pro, and she's still latching like a pro. She is a milk machine. So she's a booby monster. That's what I've been calling her. But yeah, so they gave her to me, and it was the best moment of my life for sure. I absolutely love her, and I love her daddy, and he's great with her too. But yeah, it was a damn crazy experience, and nothing I ever intended to have happen. But you know what? Sometimes you just gotta roll with the punches, and it's better we got her out safe than sorry, right? They had me sitting down for 12 hours. I had a catheter in, super uncomfortable. I ended up getting a hemorrhoid after all of that, even though I didn't push her out, which was not fun. And yeah, that was that. We stayed in the hospital for 2 days. They discharged us last Monday morning, New Year's Day. So the start of our 2018 started with bringing our little babe home. So I think it's going to be a good year. But yeah, that's my birth story, and that's her birth story. And I just thought I would share that with all of you. So thanks, and have a good day. Bye.